Right, guys, we're really getting somewhere now. So let's jump in and let's have a deep dive into quite possibly the hardest method of them all. Let's look at change gear.
So I said this was probably the most difficult one to make, but it doesn't have to be. This is, of course, going to be full of conditionals. So we're going to have so many if statements in here. There is a way to do this with a minimum amount of if statements and see if you can figure out how to do that. There is most definitely a way to be able to use a dictionary or a couple of lists to be able to and loop through them and find the gears that you need. You can there's a couple of ways to do it, but the easiest way is what we're going to do here. This is the easiest way, but it's not uh, computationally the best. It definitely is heavy on processing power, but we don't have to worry because we're up in the 32 gigabytes of memory that most people have nowadays, probably more, up to 64 and well over the hundreds. So it's not a big deal, but sometimes being able to do things a little bit easier on the computer is definitely like a very Pythonic thing to do, and it basically it's something that you should strive for as well. It's not just that it's a Pythonic thing; is that you should strive to create things to be as lightweight as possible, because the chunkier things get, the slower your program is going to run. And while it's not noticeable in beginner programs, as you get more and more sort of advanced programming, you will see a huge difference in programming. So, and that's cool. You'll start to learn about it, especially if you start looking into big O notation and learning about how computational computing works. Anyway, but we don't care about that because we're beginners, right? We're beginners. Okay, so of course, as soon as we go to change gear, the first thing we want to do is we want to check if broken. Right. Oops. So the first thing, the first thing to do with changing gears that we need to do, obviously, is we need to check to see whether this vehicle is in reverse or if it's in forward. Because if it's in forward, we got to get through these gears. We got to go from first gear all the way up to fifth, and we have to do this for the user. This is not the user's job; it's our job. So just to make this easy, let's start with reverse. So if gear is equals, see, I can't even bother like writing syntax anymore. I'm just going to start typing because you guys have got the idea and it's time for you guys to do this on your own. So if gear is equal to reverse, we need to, actually, sorry, that's not what I wanted to do. If selected gear is equal to reverse, gear is equal to reverse. Okay, so gear becomes the gear reverse, and then we just want to return, really, and then we want to end it there, so we want to return. And then the next thing is we want to be able to do forward. Okay, so we want to go select gear is equal to forward. I can't even bother capitalizing anymore. And again, that's not because I can't be bothered. It's just that I have faith in you now. I think you know what you're doing. So I don't need to hold your hand so much. If I write that in lower case, in fact, that's capitalized at the front, I have faith now that you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm not going to baby you so much here. All right, so if selected gear is equal to forward, now we have to start looking into the complexity of the forward gears. Okay, so if we do this in the most beginner way, we do this whole thing with if statements. If speed is equal to, I can't remember. So again, guys, go and have a look at what I put the speed differentials at. What is the ratio and the differentials? I need you to go and figure that out. Go and have a look, but for now I'm going to put 5. Okay? If speed is equal to 5, gear is equal to 1. Yeah. If speed, whoops. If speed is equal to, what was the next one? Let's just make it 50. Again, this is your problem, not mine. And again, I don't mean that in a mean way. I really do want you to go and pursue the correct information and insert that into your code. So now I'm just doing whatever I want. Gear, I want to without looking, because I don't want to go in there searching it. This is something you can do. 2 gear is equal to 2. Okay, and you are going to go through and you are going to do all these gears. Now just remember that when you get to, so if speed is equal to or greater than, what did I say? 80. Okay, that's an important one. Okay, so remember that at some point you will need to make sure that the gears don't change above 5, which it won't because you won't have that, but also that it covers above. Actually, you could probably just go, actually it's 45. I believe the last gear, the bottom end of the gear is 45. So it needs to cover from 45 all the way to 80. So we need to make sure that anything above 45, so if it 55, 65 is constantly kept at gear 5. Okay, and then whoops. Actually, I'm just going to do it this time. So it'll always make sure that anything above this gear is 5. Okay, I'm going to give you that much. Now, it's up to you to deal with any of the problems that might come from having such a this. This could be it. You could go through and this could be everything solved. However, I'm going to leave it to you. Yeah? So you have your ratios and I want you to look at them, but I also don't want you to try and, if speed is between this number and this number and this number and this number. Okay, that's something that I want you to figure out. So this is obviously going up the gears, but I want you to also fix it on the way coming down. Okay, so yeah, go figure that out. Make sure you have correct ratios. So obviously when once this hits a certain number, if it's coming down, it's going to obviously need to go into a lower number once it hits below 15. So that's something I want you to have a look at doing. Again, remember this is a beginner thing. If you're finding that you're ending up with so many if statements because you're trying to get a gear ratio between 5, and 14, let's say, or 0 and 15 is, let's say that's first gear, and you're trying to figure out how to be able to, change the gear back to 1 at 14. Yes, go ahead and try and figure that out, but don't drown yourself in complexity if you can't. If the gear then goes back to 1 at, I don't know, 10 or whatever, that's okay, that's fine, okay? But if you can do it, if you know how to do it, go ahead and do it. If you can't get these gears perfect, do not punish yourself over it. Just As long as the gears are going up and they're changing, coming down, if they're not perfect, it's okay. It's okay. You can always come back in 6 months when you understand logic more. You better come back and you'll be able to fix this problem. But this is something I want you to try and do on your own. Like I can sit here like I haven't before and completely hold your hand, but this is something I want you to try. I want you to try and figure out these gears by yourself. There is other ways to doing it, for sure, absolutely for sure. But I want you to give it a go. See if you can get these gear ratios correct. And like I said, after a day or you have no idea how gear ratios work, it's okay. As long as your gears are changing up and down, they don't have to be perfect, because we're not here to get a perfect result. I'm here for you to complete the project and do the rest of the stuff like documentation, which is coming, okay? And making sure that this is on a GitHub repository on GitHub and can be made public so that it's available for people to look at. And people can then come to this channel and know that you wrote this project yourself. It's not a copy, follow along coding project and you don't know how to code, okay? And that is the main drive of all these playlists, is that you can put this on GitHub and whoever comes to check to see if this is legit will see that my channel is here to give you challenges and not for you to copy along with my coding. Okay, that's it, guys. That's all the coding for each method. I 100% believe that you can do display stats yourself. Okay, the only thing I will make a short video on, or I will mention maybe in the videos before all these sort of like breakdowns, is I will mention about like putting in pauses within your program so that you can emulate a simulator, so it doesn't all just appear down here like that. It'd be nice if it can just be like this: 1, 2, this, 1, 2, this, 1, 2, this. Okay, and that's what we want to do. So yeah. All right, that's enough, guys. Start coding. I'll see you in the documentation videos. Good luck.